In the Fire Force world, there are a group of 3rd and 4th generation pyrokinetics that possess a pure and unsullied flame called an Adola Burst. 8 of these individuals are known as the 8 key pillars, and each of them represent a negative human emotion. Those emotions then help fuel the Great Cataclysm, a fire so destructive that it burns the entire planet to ashes. These are some of the most important and powerful characters in the series in one way or another, so today I will be ranking and explaining the 8 key pillars of Fire Force. Before we get started, it'd be great if you left a like on the video for the algorithm and subscribe to see future content. Also, spoiler warning for Fire Force. Starting off this list, we have the 8th pillar, representing the emotion of despair, Sister Iris. Iris is a 3rd generation pyrokinetic whose abilities weren't apparent until Adola got closer to the earth and strengthened the abilities of every pyrokinetic. When Iris prays, she's able to nullify flames on a frankly ridiculous level. On top of nullifying blasts from the likes of Dragon, her abilities also grant a high level of protection from the shockwaves Shinra causes when moving at light speed, making her an exceptional shield. The reasons Iris sits at the bottom of the list rest in her support-centered moveset. As a trade-off for her overwhelming defensive abilities, Iris has virtually non-existent offensive abilities, only being able to create tiny fires from her fingertips. Inca Kasukatani is the 5th pillar that represents the emotion of destruction. Inca is a 4th generation pyrokinetic that has the ability to see and smell fires before they even happen, or even predict the birth of a new Adola Burst. This makes her pretty much untouchable, as she can simply move out of the way before getting hit by an attack. After awakening her own Adola Burst, Inca becomes able to see paths similar to those which appear when predicting a fire, but these have a start and end goal attached to them. Upon running her finger along these paths, they will create explosions or fire. However, this is the only way these explosions can be created. She can't use any offensive abilities outside of these, and will be left defenseless if a path for her to trace doesn't appear. Another weakness of these explosions is that they don't seem to do much damage, with their only real injury coming from when Inca burned her unpowered friend alive. Sumire is the 8th pillar that represents the emotion of disgust. Sumire is a 3rd generation pyrokinetic that can cause vibrations by using the heat given off by shivering. Doing this causes all of her muscles to vibrate, creating heat that she then amplifies and transforms into kinetic energy that creates even bigger vibrations. Using this with her Adola Burst allows her to do things such as amplify her physical blows to the point where she can incapacitate a person or destroy metal with a single touch and create earthquakes. The earthquakes she creates are strong enough to spread over the entire Tokyo Empire and shake it multiple times. She's also at least 250 years old and has stopped aging as of the last decade, giving her some sort of unaging immortality. Nataku's son is the 6th pillar that represents the emotion of fear. Nataku is a 3rd generation pyrokinetic that can make a fire claw from his right arm. Upon fully awakening his Adola Burst, he becomes able to create floating rings of fire that can shoot through things such as concretes and buildings. Nataku's flames also give off a level of radiation that is dangerous to anybody without a pyrokinetic ability themselves. The real reason Nataku is here, however, is that at his maximum firepower caused by his broken mental state and a little bit of interference from Haumea, Nataku created a blast with enough firepower to put a noticeable crater in the moon, and it is said that while out of control, his power could destroy the entire Tokyo Empire. Amatarasu is the 1st pillar that represents the emotion of madness, and is also the counterpart to Iris, who is her doppelganger. Amaterasu is a 3rd generation pyrokinetic who serves as the power source for the entirety of the Tokyo Empire. All of it. Due to this, Amatarasu has the ability to appear before and communicate with other Adolaburst users directly, and can even take control of people to an extent. While Amaterasu has not displayed any combative feats herself, her being the power source for the Tokyo Empire for at least hundreds of years gives an idea of how powerful she truly is, as well as the fact that after her ability was used by Haumea, her Light of Madness created nuke-like explosions that could only be avoided within stopped time. Shoku Sakab is the third pillar that represents the emotion of apathy. Sho is a 4th generation pyrokinetic whose ability is fairly simple. Sho can take heat from the expansion of the universe and stop time. Inside stopped time, which he calls Sever Universe, only Sho or someone as fast as Sho can move, and there aren't many people who are as fast as Sho. Even outside of Sever Universe, he's able to easily counter Shinra's Rapid Man kicks. Sho is also so masterful in combat that he was able to defeat Feiry, someone who is capable of directly countering Sho's ability. His guaranteed hit ability combined with his immense speed, strength, and master swordsmanship make Sho a force to be reckoned with who really deserves 3rd place on this list. Haumea is the 2nd pillar that represents the emotion of passivity. Haumea is a 3rd generation pyrokinetic and uses her powers in the form of electricity. With this electricity, Haumea is able to hear the collective unconscious of humanity at all times whether she likes it or not, which has caused her to hear the most evil parts of the world since birth. With her base abilities, Haumea can control others, read minds, or talk to her allies from great distances. She has a passive electrical shield that can protect her from things like bullets or Arthur's Excalibur, and can use electromagnetism to attach herself to metal and swing around. However, what puts Haumea in the 2nd place spot on this list is the abilities she gains near the end of the series. After being accepted by the Evangelist, Haumea becomes able to use the abilities of the other pillars that die or willingly sacrifice themselves, giving her power comparable to that of the gods. Haumea can use Inca's ability to see the future, which in turn allows her to avoid hits even in stopped time, as well as being able to use Iris's Divine Protection, Sumire's Vibrations, and Amaterasu's Light of Madness. She is nigh untouchable with the ability to produce blasts the size of nukes on a whim, which earned her 2nd place. At number 1 we have Shinra Kusakabe, the 4th pillar that represents the emotion of rage. Shinra is a 3rd and 4th generation pyrokinetic whose base abilities are pretty simple. Shinra can use fire through his feet, which grants him flight and exceptional speed, as well as the ability to amplify the force of his kicks. Shinra's top speed without the grace of the Evangelist allows him to move at speeds past the speed of sound, or even near the speed of light when angered. When blessed with the grace of the Evangelist, Shinra awakens his 4th generation ability, which allows him to move faster than the speed of light. While doing this, Shinra's body will break down into subatomic particles, and then those particles will travel back in time in order to repair Shinra's body. This allows him to move in places such as Sho's Severed Universe and generate enough power to completely destroy a demon inferno in less than 1 second. Of course, this isn't the reason why Shinra is number 1 on this list. During the final fight of Fire Force, Shinra uses Soul Resonance to fuse with his brother Sho and his mother Mari, and he becomes Shinra Banshoman. In this form, Shinra is able to easily counter Haumea in her strongest form and gains the abilities of a god on top of having his base set of powers amplified greatly. He manifests the power of creation, which allows him to recreate the earth in its entirety after it had been burned to ashes by the Great Cataclysm. Shinra can also warp reality, turning the flames that destroyed the planet into flowers with a single touch, and creating an atmosphere out of a holy light that's said to destroy anything it touches. As I mentioned earlier, Shinra's base abilities are greatly amplified in this form, and he is able to reverse time as many times as he wants continuously with little effort. If all of that wasn't enough, Shinra can just create godly beings, seen as when he created the first Lord Death, as well as having the ability to revive the dead. Shinra Banshoman single-handedly reforged the world, everyone on it, and ended up creating the Soul Eater universe in the process, not only making him the strongest pillar, not even just the strongest character in Fire Force, but the strongest character in the history of his universe.
Lately I'm feeling so cool. Yeah. Come and get a taste of the hip soul food. Spice up the animal when Neo haiku. While soul goes to school, way slash kung fu.